Okay, this video is about how to do another bad guy, but in this situation, the bad guy is going to shoot you if you get too close. The other bad guy I talked about in my previous videos was a monster where they ran after you and then they pretty much bit you or clawed you. But in this situation, the bad guy is going to shoot you from a distance, but he's not going to move. He'll rotate around if you go past him, and he'll shoot you still. And then if you you have to get in his firing range in order for him to start shooting. So let me show you what I'm talking about, and then I will explain how I created it, how I did it. So he's getting hit. And he dies. About to die here. And then in the second room, I also have another guy there. And like I said, you get to a certain point, he will start shooting at you. And I'm dead. Okay. So let me show you how I did this. So in this situation, okay. So in the beginning, in the first room, there's two guys. One is in purple here, and he's standing. So when I start the game, I'm right in this area right here. This red line represents where the bad guy is going to stop shooting, because I'm out of his shooting range. Once I hit this pink line here, then he's going to start shooting. So this is basically the shooting range. So when I hit that pink line, which is invisible in the room, he's going to start shooting, and then that's the distance, how far he shoots. And if I pass the bad guy, if I don't destroy him, I don't kill him, if I go past him, then he will rotate himself around and he will fire at me in this location right here too. But once I hit this red line or hit these lines out here, I'm out of his shooting range and he's going to stop firing. And I would suggest to close all this up, close these lines up around, because I noticed like a flaw in the character, the bad guy. If you don't have all these lines sealed or up around it, then he may not fire correctly or something. So just make sure that all the lines are closed up around the perimeter of the firing range. So once I hit this red line, these red lines, then he stops firing his gun. And the same thing applies to the second bad guy that shoots, but I gave him a farther firing range, so he can shoot farther out. Same way applies if you go past him. He will fire again, but like I said, once you cross this red line, he will stop firing, and then once you hit this pink line, these pink lines here, he'll fire again. Once you hit this red line, he'll stop firing his weapon. Alright. And then in the second room, same thing applies. I have I only created two Guy Fire 1, Guy Fire 2. This is Guy Fire 1 in the second room. And then these lines right here represent the firing range. It's going horizontal instead of vertical. You can have it going either way. And then you have the red lines that once he crosses the red line, then he will stop firing the weapon. Alright, so let me show you what I did here. So the first thing I did here was I made two images, one called object hit our area good, and then object hit area bad. So this depth at minus 1000 is like the red. I just did a step and a draw event, and the coded sheets. So I grabbed the coded sheet from the control tab, and it's just stated that the X view and Y view is at 500 and 100. Draw is the same, 500 and 100. So, and that's the same setup as the red. So what that means is that it's going to be stuck on screen. It's like one of these images right here where you had the gun. When you grab the gun, it's going to go on screen. It's going to stay on screen. So, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So I want to make this visible because it's not visible on screen. So when you first start the game, the green and red squares are not visible on screen, but I'm going to make them visible so I can show you what I'm talking about here. Alright, so see the green square there? The green square there, right below the face, that means that you're in good terms. You're not getting hit, but once you get close to them, it turns red. That red basically means that you get hit. So the green doesn't do anything. It's just a placeholder for the most part. But you have to have the placeholder in there for the red to show up once you get hit. So once you get hit, do a create, and then you're going to add the face object in here, the object underscore face hit, which is at 520. The origin, that's the face that shows that you're getting hit. Add the sound effect that you're getting hit. Then the health is health minus equals 3. Parentheses here, semi parentheses, meaning you're getting hit 3 times. Your power level is going down 3 every time you get hit. And then this health is in here twice because like I said, I talked about object underscore end player, which is in the second room, and then I have the object player, which applies to object player in the first room. And the reason why I have two different player objects, because I wanted the background. Remember, I wanted the ceiling and the floor to be different colors. So in order for that to happen, I had to make another player object and duplicate everything, all the attributes I did in the player object to the end player. So that's why there's a second player object in the game in the second room, because I wanted to change the color of the ceiling and the floor, and I couldn't do that with using the player object, because remember, the player object, that's where all the elements for the ceiling and floor is in the player object. So that's why I made a second player, so I could change the color of the floor and the ceiling. Okay, so then I added alarm in here. Got that from the main 2 tab. Made it 5 milliseconds pretty much. Alarm 0 starts, and then 5 milliseconds again, alarm 0 starts. Then it's going to change. Then it's going to change back to object hit area good. Perform yes. So in 5 milliseconds, it's going to change back to the good element, so I don't lose any more health. And like I said, the step and draw events in there, it has the same X and Y coordinates where it's going to be located at on screen. Same thing with the draw event. So it moves smoothly with the character when he moves on the screen. So the hit area is bad for you because you're going to get hit. Your power level is going to go down. So it's only going to last for 5 milliseconds. Every time you get hit, it's going to last for 5 milliseconds, and you're going to lose health. Okay. If you had this alarm set for 10 milliseconds, and you would lose more health. So I made it 5 milliseconds, so he loses not that much health, and then it's going to jump back to the good hit area where he's not going to lose any health. And the face object got hit. I already talked about that, but yeah, I've already talked about that, so I'm not going to elaborate on that. That's just basically showing him. It's just showing, his changing color of getting hit. Alright, so now I've already talked about the object area getting good and the hit bad. So that allows yourself to get hit and hurt. Then you have the object player, and all these elements here are duplicated and copied for the end player for the second room. So everything happens for the object player, happens for the end player as well. Alright, so then I have these pink lines and these red lines. I talked about that. The pink lines are the shooting range for the bad guy. Alright, so when you cross the pink line, the bad guy that's just sitting there waiting for you to come up closer, he doesn't fire there, but then he'll switch to firing. And then you want to make sure that the perform event is not set. Don't set that to yes, because there's a flaw. I mean, I saw a flaw in the game when I hit this, made this yes. It basically, what happened was when the bad guy shot, it showed his image of dying as well for some reason. I don't know why, but when I set that to yes, when the bad guy fired his weapon, it showed an image of him in the background dying, but he didn't really die. It just showed like a double exposure of an image behind him showing the element of him dying, which I didn't like. I don't know why that showed up. So when I made this performance event not happen, then he did switch to shooting, but it did not show the bad guy dying in the background for some reason. I don't know what happened, but it did like a double exposure on the image for some reason. So make sure that's set to not. And the object hit area good switches to object hidden bad, because you're getting hit now, and you're getting hit. And this right here, you can make sure the performance event is set to yes. That works fine, but it didn't work fine for the bad guy that was shooting, so that's why I set that to not. Alright, then when he crosses the red line, it's going to make the bad guy that does shoot not shoot, and make sure that performance event is set to not, because otherwise it's not going to work correctly. Alright, I'm going to have to stop this video and do a part 2 on this, because my camera only holds so much memory. I've already talked for about 14 minutes and 30 seconds, so I'm going to do part 2 on this and continue. Thanks for watching.